Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Happy Wednesday. It's so strange being here on a Wednesday and not a Friday, but that's because we've got two amazing launches this week, and I am honoured and privileged to be able to launch my collection to you first today on this lovely Wednesday, and then we've got Sam Cowcott's collection Made to Surprise on Friday at the usual time of 12:30. So I am launching another textures range. This is the fifth collection in the range. I'm really excited. If you haven't seen me splashing it all over social media already, it is called A Stitch in Time. So it's all about your sewing, getting the look of hand embroidery without actually having to sit and have the patience of doing hand embroidery, hand stitching, which I don't have. I love the look, but I don't have the patience for it, and that's why I've developed these tools and these stamps and dies and things so that you can get that look at home. So we've got some special offers on today as well. I will pop and say hello to a few of you in a moment. My phone was taking a little while to pick up the Facebook feed, so I'm just waiting for that to catch on, and then I will say hello to you as soon as I can see your comments. But we have got offers for you. So if you are spending £20 or more on the new textures range, A Stitch in Time, you're going to be able to get a free set of grey board. Now I will show you all of the products in a moment, and I will show you that grey board as well, so you'll be able to see exactly what you're getting for free. But that's 3 A5 sheets, all die cut or laser cut, with shapes to match and coordinate with everything that's in the collection. It's usually worth £5.99, so it's well worth getting your hands on that, because you're only spending £20. Usually we say £25 or £30 minimum to get the free gift. So that will just come up as a pop-up in your checkout, so you don't have to put in a code or anything. But we do have a special code for you if you're having a look. Maybe you've never seen textures before. Hi, I'm Lou Collins. I'm the designer of textures. So the idea is that textures range is all about building layers and dimension and texture, but also bringing in my love of fonts and letters and wording and calligraphy and things like that. Hence the text yours. So Textures is a brand that's been around since the end of last year. Like I say, this is the fifth collection now, but you can see the older products, the previous 4 collections, over on craftstash.co.uk, and you can now get some money off of those as well. So if you want 25% off of those items, those older previous collections, so there was, I have to think about this now, so we had first of all the reflections, then we had the brush strokes. That was all the arty one. The reflections is the one with the owl and the heart and the butterfly. Then we had the steampunk and the floral script. They're pretty much as they sound. So those two were launched together in the last launch. So all of those you can get 25% off simply by using the code T25 at checkout, and you will get 25% off of those older products. If you are over in the US, of course, it's craftstash.us. You can also get that grey board. For that, you do need to be spending $25, so it's the equivalent roughly of £20. And there the grey board is actually worth a little bit more, $6 something. So again, that will just pop up in at checkout. Okay, now fingers crossed. Let's see if I can get your comments up. I know I can on YouTube, so I'll go over to YouTube first of all and say hello to you all over there. Who have we got? We've got Benita. Hello to you. She's really excited to see what I come up with. 2 seconds and I will show you. She's got a coffee ready. Wilderness Road, she's got her tea. Do you know what? Tea and coffee. Yeah, I could do with one of those actually. Kathy Saltmarsh is looking forward to the new collection. Hello to you. Hello to Rena as well. To Karen Williams, to Louise Noah. I never know if I'm saying your name right, Louise. I hope so. Maria Rivera as well. Rivera. It's not my day, is it? It's not my day. Hello to lots and lots of you. Let's see if I can just refresh now over on over on Facebook. Can I do it? I think it's just my phone having one of those days. Fingers crossed it will now come up on the event. So we always set up an event for these. If you don't want to miss any of these lives, keep an eye on the Facebook events, everybody, because you'll then be able to see. Are we there? Fingers crossed. Can I get there? Oh, I still can't get into it. For whatever reason, I still can't get into this event. Let me show you the products and I'll come back to you on Facebook, everybody. I'm sure you're there. I'm sure you're watching. So hello to you all. Now, come down here. Let me show you the first items. Now, these first ones are what the whole collection has been built around. And you've probably seen me posting so many of these examples, samples using this I am really excited about this. It's actually embroidered stamps, or stamps that look like embroidery. There's 2 layers to these. They are layering stamps, but don't be scared off if you've never tried layering stamping before, because I've tried to be clever. It doesn't happen often, but I've tried to be clever and make sure that these stamps can be used on their own as single layers and still look equally as lovely. Okay, I'm going to show you what I mean. So when you start bundling these up, creating flourishes, creating wreaths, foliage bundles, borders and such like that, you're going to get that look of embroidered flowers. I'll show you some examples in a moment. This is just the foliage leaves, and hopefully you can see on here, you've got the dimension on each of the leaves, you've got those stitch lines, but each one can also be used separately. So effectively you're getting 3 different looks from each pairing of stamps. So these are the 3 foliage leaves. I'll talk you through the first demonstration how to layer these up, how to get the best from them. And these are the florals as well. Obviously I've just used different colours, but you can use any colour you wish to. Okay, these are, I'm so pleased with these. These are actually something I've had in my mind for many years, and seeing them come to life. So what do they create when they're all put together? Well, you can create backgrounds like this that look as if they have been embroidered. Like I say, no needles necessary at all, nothing at all. You can just stamp away in minutes. Now these have been used with the 2 colours. So we've got the lighter layer and the darker layer, but you can also use them on their own as well. Again, here I've used a mixture of some of them on their own, some of them with the 2 layers. I think they're mostly on 1 layer in these ones. I've just masked off the letter there, so that's made it nice and easy. And this one I wanted to just show you because I've just created this on fabric. You can stamp on fabric with these stamps as well. By the way, I just saw a comment recently before the live in the CraftStash chat group. If you've not joined that already, over on Facebook there is a CraftStash chat group, just letting you know that these are photopolymer stamps. Okay, I know some people have been trying to find out because we don't splash it all over the description or anything, but they are photopolymer, so they are really good quality stamp set. Okay, so yeah, really excited about that. I always make sure all of the textures range are that make, but that means you get brilliant detail. You can wash your stamps. They're not going to stretch or distort. They're not going to discolour in the sun. They discolour from ink because I use lots of ink and don't clean them properly. But you can keep yours nice and clean, and they remain sticky as well. They just are a better stamp set. Oh, I think I've found the live video. I can now say hello to a few of you in a moment. So they are the first item. Now the next one I am equally as excited about, and that works really well with the floral embroidery flowers there, and that is the Textures embroidery hoops die set. I was just distracted because my phone came. All of a sudden it jumped into life and I saw myself, and that's a bit scary. I'm going to do a very quick hello to a few of you here over on Facebook because I didn't get a chance to do so in a moment. Maria, oh, she's on Facebook, and Maria, you're on both on YouTube as well. Hello to Karen. They look fab on fabric. They really do. I'm so excited. I'm going to get some videos done about that. Alison Lee, hello to you. To Rainey Atkins, to Terry Kelly, to Val Young as well. Yeah, Terry said photopolymer stamps are her favourite. Yes, I make sure all of mine are, so don't worry about that. Fiona Ragg, Andrea Horrobin as well, Jane Kennedy, there's so many of you. Cheryl Thomas, Jude Barkley, I can keep going on. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you're with me today. So these are the embroidery hoops. They come in 3 sizes, and I've given you some additional extras with them as well. The largest hoop here is a 7" by 7". So you're going to need your larger machines for that one. Then the smallest is 5 by 5, and the middle one, and the smallest is 3" by 3". We've got the wording So Special in there, and then we've also got these additional pieces. So these pieces will go on the outside of your hoop as the excess fabric. So we've got the 3 sizes, 1 to fit each hoop. So you'll just cut that 4 times. Okay, so they're the actual dies. there's a board just to show you what they look like. Okay, so you can paper piece the middles back in a different colour. But here's some cards. There you go. So that's what you can be creating. Can you see that fabric? It just looks as if you've got some cross stitch or some embroidery in there, and they are you've got that fabric that you've not trimmed down, you've not taken it out, put it in a frame yet, because that's what an embroidery hoop is for, isn't it? It's just for the working, and then you take it out. But I like to display things in embroidery hoops. These are the larger ones. You can see when you put it into an 8x8 card, I've used my creative nesting dies there to cut a larger circle into the back of my card and place that there with some parchment. So that's really pretty. And then we've got, this is the middle size one, that's the 5" by 5" one, just Home Sweet Home. Everything here is using this collection, so if you see anything you like, we'll come to it in just a moment. And there's the smaller ones. I like to put them all in a row, a few of them together. So that is the embroidery hoops there. Then moving on to the tools. So of course you can't have an embroidery hoop without some tools to go with it. Now I always say with packaging, things are always larger in real life. Okay, I've got a board here with all the cutouts, so I don't need to show you the dies. You're getting 15 dies in this set. I love the detail in these. So within this little thread card here, I don't know if you can see it, we've actually got this die cut in a different colour popped on top, and you've got the same there with the spool of thread. So you've got the thread that you can die cut in a different colour. So cutting this maybe from a wood grain paper and then putting the thread on top in a different colour is lovely. I adore the safety pin. It's one of my favourites. I'm just wondering if I've got a card somewhere. I've got a card somewhere with that on. I can't remember where it is, but I'll show you later. It looks really good fun because it looks as if it's actually into the paper. In fact, it was on the first card I showed you, wasn't it? The stitching time there, that's got embossed into the top, a stitching time saves 9. You've got the dress form there as well, obviously buttons, scissors and all sorts. The dress form perfectly coordinates with something in the grey board, so you can die cut a colour to go over the grey board. Let's just see a few examples of these as well. So there's those scissors there along with those small embroidery hoops. Again, everything else I'll show you. There's that dress form there, so I've cut that from black and I've embossed it with one of the background stamps that I'll show you in a moment. But that's then stuck onto the grey board, so you can see how that matches really well. The grey board is what you're getting free if you spend over £20 or $25 over in the US, so that will just pop up at your checkout. Do you want to add this for £0 and 0 pence? And then we've got the stitch card, of course, the thread card, sorry, and the spool there as additionals. Okay, so let me just pop these to the side because I've got a lot to show you and I want to keep my desk fairly clear. I've got lots of demonstrations for you as well. I'll try to keep within the next hour. I can't promise anything though because I'm on my own. I've got no one to stop me. Now I've got my border dies. They're actually called fabric edging die sets. Okay, they are large dies. Look at me not cleaning my die out as well. That's naughty. They are really large dies in here, and I've created them so that they remain within the cardstock on one side, and you'll see why in a moment. So here are the dies all cut out on white so you can see the detail in them. They're a good size as well. They're just over 6 inches tall, so you can put them on your square cards if you want to cut them into the card base, but you can repeat these as well and you can join them end to end also. They make lovely things like to go around candle jars, to go around cakes and such like as well. This is brilliant for masculine themes or if you want to add to that sort of cross-stitch look. So a couple of cards that I've made with that. Here's one. Okay, again, you've got that grey board there. I've actually added colour and some embossing powder to that to grunge it up a little bit. Sentiments are coming along in a moment, but you can see there, I've just cut that into the edge of the card. I've got no join because it doesn't cut away this side either, so that just gives it a lovely lace border. And then here, so I don't know how well you can see that. I'm hoping you can see that as I tilt it. We've got here the Hessian one. Okay, so this one here, I've embossed it. Rather than cutting it, I've embossed it into this blue paper after I did all the stamping, before I put any of the embellishments on, and that's given it that woven texture. So you can do your embossing with these dies as well if you want to. Okay, so the next product, I'm trying to flip through these as quickly as possible so I can demo as much as possible. Carol Lewis is sitting on a bank card so it can't run away. It knows I'm buying. I wouldn't want to see myself. Oh, I'm not sure what that's talking about. I'm sorry, did I make a comment about seeing myself quite? Oh yes, of course I did. I did over on my Facebook. I was seeing myself. It's not nice. So a Stitch in Time Borders stamp set. These are, I love these. You can see how well used they are. So I have got a board here. I need to say thank you to my son. He's in school. He won't see this now. I'll show him later. He's made the majority of these boards for me. He did get paid for it. Okay, I wasn't cheeky. I didn't ask him to do it for nothing. But he's made these so that I can clearly show you how these work. Now we've got 3 measuring tapes here. All of these go from 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. Obviously, if I thought ahead, I would have done 31 on one of them, but we didn't have the spacing to do that. But if you've days of the week, diaries, journals, things like that, you can mostly do with those. I adore these. We'll see in a moment. I think I've got an example of one already made up. They are so much fun when they're cut out and put on a card with a little bit of a wave to them. And then we've got all the different stitches as well. So you've got zigzag straight stitch, you've got blanket stitch, you've got cross stitches there, all sorts. You've actually got one here that looks like it could be a zip as well. Okay, so they are the border stamps, and as you can see, I've just used them to go around this A that I've stamped there, and then there is that tape measure, an example of that tape measure there with a little, I've just put a little gold, I don't know what it is, a little gold plate that you have on the end of a tape measure. Do we have any seamstresses or anything here that can tell me what that's actually called on the end of a tape measure? But as you can see, just shaped that so it's not laying flat on the card. So coming actually on this one, you can see the sentiment there. That leads me into this next section, and that is our sentiment. So we have got all sorts on here. Again, they're so well loved, so well used. I've used them a lot already. So I've got the board so you can see everything a little clearer. Beautiful things come together, one stitch at a time. So happy for you. Within both of these, you've got that sort of scribbly font that looks as if it's been stitched. The same with Stitched Together with Love. That's all like little crosses, so it looks like it's been cross-stitched on there as well. Keep Calm and Create, I just added that in because it's great fun for any craft. Doesn't have to be a soft craft. When life gives you scraps, make quilts. What I also wanted to do with this sentiment set is make it so that you could use it on any of your cards. So Made with Love and Handmade By, and of course the stitch and the scissors there, you can use that on anything. So if you're doing invitations and you're doing little RSVP slips at the bottom, you could add this. You could put Handmade By or Made with Love at the bottom on the back of all of your cards and just sign your name there, something like that. And we've got the little stitched heart as well. So let's just see these in action as such. So you've got the Stitched Together with Love across the bottom there. That's actually been heat embossed with red. And then we've got that Keep Calm and Create on there. That's been heat embossed in white. I'll come to this panel in a moment. And Handmade there with Love. I've actually snipped that Stitched Together with Love sentiment, snipped it down in half and put that on the front of a journal instead of a card. And then that panel that I was just talking about. Now this is a large panel set. This is beautiful. I adore this. It's really big, as you can see, really big die. It's still going to fit through your A5 die cutting machines, don't worry. So it will still go through those, but we've got both the hexagons that come out and the waist as such that we can play with. I wanted this to be quite large like this so we can do that. You've got various dies in here so that you can leave this within your paper. Do you know what, if you do scrapbooking, for example, and you just have this panel as a see-through on your page, that would be really fun. But you've also got the border that you can cut out as well, and then you've also got the stitched edge die. Just show you what I mean by that, because that's not actually on the board. So here we've got the straight edge border that's cut around the edge, but then this one gives you a stitched edge, so it doesn't cut anything out, but it does cut some stitching into the edge of the border if you want to. But you could just use this on any card front, even if you're not using that panel. So a couple of examples quickly with this. Now I found this really good fun. So paper piecing those hexagons back in place. You can mix up the way they're put in as well. You could have all solid hexagons, you could have all triangles. It's entirely up to you once you've die cut your materials, just take a look at these background stamps as well, because I'm going to be coming to those in a minute. You've got lace and dress pattern there. There's one of those sentiments, and there's the grey board pieces. And then this is really good fun. So this piece, when it cuts out, if you cut 2 or 3 of them and start layering them in different ways, you start to get different effects. So this is 3 layers, and I've just moved them enough to give me all of these triangles. Eventually your little peep through will be all triangles. And then this one, this is probably one of my favorites that are completely different. So using this again in 3 different colors, so it's just using scraps. In fact, it was the waste from this very bright card that I did, where I was cutting all those different layers there. That's just using the waste there and just moving everything ever so slightly up and to the right, gluing it, and then the next panel up and to the right again, and you get this sort of 3-dimensional look with those. So that's good fun. You don't have to do it in those pastel sort of baby colors, but you could do this in blacks and grays and browns. It could be perfect for somebody who loves their computers, maybe a masculine feel card. Almost looks sort of galactic, doesn't it? So there's another way of using that. We're getting through, and not too much further now before I can start demonstrating for you. Let me see. Ella says this will go great with the May challenge on Craft World, the theme of mosaics. Yes, I didn't even think about that, Ella. Thank you. Lynn Bell says beautiful hexagon die. I love the different designs you can do with this one. It is so versatile, honestly. So now I've got 2 background stamps. These are individual, but I'm just going to bring them in together for you because they are both A6 stamps. Again, you can see how well loved these are. I adore them. I haven't mentioned giveaways. I haven't mentioned them. I apologize. I have got giveaways galore for you. So there's 3 bundles for you today. I'm going to be giving away to anyone who's commenting. Okay, I'm going to pick the winners, or lovely Hillary's going to pick the winners from people commenting. I'll mention these names at the end of the hour. It's going to be a bundle, a selection of products for each of you. So we're giving away over £130 worth of prizes. I believe there's 4 or 5 items in each bundle, okay, from this collection. How could I forget the giveaways? It's because I'm so excited to show you everything. So we have the dress pattern and we have the lace. I think the dress pattern is actually my favourite. I think because look at the lace when you emboss it on parchment. Isn't that beautiful? We've seen that in quite a few of the examples. And then look at the dress pattern when you stamp it onto brown tissue paper, or as I've done a tutorial that should be on CraftStash very soon on how to stamp onto dry tea bags to get this look. Okay, so those 2 stamps are included in the collection, and then I'll quickly whiz through the rest. So now we're coming to the text side of it. We've got the cross stitch alphabet, so you can see here, perfect little crosses. You can build your own names, your own sentiments, whatever you wish to. We also have here, I'm rushing now because I want to demonstrate. We also have here they're the lowercase, so the cross stitch are the uppercase. These are the lowercase alphabets. They're all tiny little stitches, okay, and each letter has been designed so that it flicks up so you can join the letters together. Okay, I'll show you in the first demonstration. I've got an example of this used on a card. They just work so well. So you've got your numbers here then as well, but you can build up any sentiment you like. We have, this is a huge collection, isn't it? We have here we go. Pauline Hickey says she needs the dress pattern, but then again she needs it all. Yeah, I must admit I'm a sucker for the dress pattern. You can see this is used. I've not got a very nice spread of all the different papers here, but you can see we've got lots of different papers. They're all there's 6 different designs here. There's 24 sheets, so you've got 4 of each sheet. They are all 190 GSM, so they are paper, but they're a thick paper. They're single-sided, so you haven't got to choose which side to use. I just love these colours. Some of them are nice and bright and bold. Some of them are paler and they've got texture in them. They're smooth, but they look like they've got texture in them. So you can be doing your cross-stitch stamping on those. Then you've got like your floral, almost like your farmhouse kitchen look as well with some of these. So yeah, I love them. And lastly, this is your free gift. Your grey board. Again, this is mine, all very used. You're going to get 3 sheets in each pack. So you get this one, as you can see, used. You get this one, again used. And then you also get, can I get one that's not quite as used? No. I think they've all been used a little bit. And then you get your lace borders as well. So they're the 3 designs. I've got 2 packs here. Just wondering if I've got, I don't know. Oh, that might be that one. I might be able to build a whole set for you to see almost. Not quite, can I? Never mind. But you've got a lot here. Now, as I said, the die matches perfectly with that, as does the stitch card as well. You've got elements in here that work really well with the sewing tools dies. But otherwise, do you know what? I just love using grey board raw without anything on. We see it here. We saw it right at the beginning in the card that had the lace aperture in it as well. So really pretty lace effects. And of course, you've got all the dress forms, the buttons, the sewing machine and such. So that is your free gift if you are spending over £20 in the UK or over £25 in the US on the new textures collection. You've also got, of course, you've got the 25% off of the older collections as well. So make sure you don't miss out on that. All you need is the code T25. Now, I just need to, I'm going to come back down. I've just come to you, but I'm going to come back down to the desk so you can see. Let's start demonstrating. I'm going to put some of these away and I'm going to grab my dies. So hopefully you can all hear me while I'm rummaging around, because I just put my dies away, of course. Here we go. So the embroidery hoop dies. I want to start with the dies and the floral stamps because these are my favourite pieces from the entire collection. Everything's built around the floral stamps. There we go. So everything's built around these. These were the main ideas. Like, I want to do these. These work so well with the textures range. How do I incorporate this into a full collection? And of course, the next thing had to be embroidery hoops. And they have been so popular already. Hello to Brian Dickey from the USA. Lovely to see you from over the water. Val Young, thank you so much for your lovely comments there. Suzanne Taylor, what an amazing collection. Thank you, Suzanne. Margaret can see a lot of the grey board elements on a shabby chic card. Yes, I hope so. Oh, Kate Baker saying hello to Brian Dickey from England. I love that. We're all saying hello across the water. So let's start looking at these. How does this work? Now, it's fairly straightforward, but I'm going to create an easel card with this. Don't forget, if you are commenting, everybody commenting, you're going to have the chance to win. I've got lots of you over on YouTube as well, so hi to you. I'm going to, or I'm not, somebody at CraftStash, Hillary's going to choose winners from Facebook and from YouTube, and we'll do that giveaway. We'll announce the names at the end of this hour. I need to let you know as well very quickly, there's another offer that you won't want to miss over on CraftStash, and that's that there's £80 off selected Cricut machines, and that's only until the 4th of June. So that's a massive saving. I know some Cricut machines are like £199 such, so 80% off is massive. Go and check those out if you've even half considering getting one of these machines. Right, so what I need to do for my card is I have cut the embroidery hoop die twice already, and I've glued those together because in my mind an embroidery hoop should be quite thick, quite sturdy, quite raised up. So I like to make these layered if I can, but I also love bringing in wood grain paper as well. So I'm rummaging about finding all my old wood grain papers and cutting them from this. So let me just cut this and I'll show you how the die comes out. Now I've got my bigger die cutting machine here. I won't bring it into shop because it will fill the desk, but I'm just going to run it through quickly and back again. You hear that cracking? So let's come back again. These cut beautifully as well, by the way, and the beauty of this is, so I tend to cut a different colour for the frame and the inside, but I keep the inside pieces in case I want to put them inside a different frame later on. So this piece, now I can either use this or I can turn it over and use the other side if it's either single-sided or double-sided if it's a different colour. Let me just use my pokey tool here. We have release holes in the top. Oh, has it already come out? Has it already come out? Or am I seeing things? It has. It's come out. Where has it come out? Am I imagining things? I've cut that there. I've cut that there. Did anyone see that? It's literally just disappeared as I've pulled it out of the machine. How did that happen? Anyone? Am I imagining things? I think I am. It's going to be somewhere really obvious, isn't it? So the piece has come out. It's gone. Anyone help me? Did anyone see where it went? Someone must have done. Come on, where have you gone? That is, oh, I think there's ghosties in here. No one's, oh, there it is. Found it. it had flown somehow. As I lifted the die out, it came away that easily. I was surprised I needed to get my pokey tool to get that out. It flew over onto, just down beside me, just here. I've got all my tool bench as such, and it was just sitting on there, just happily sitting there, probably saying, right, you need this glue for me. So there's the larger of the hoops. This is 7 by 7, so I'm just going to get rid of that now. This piece, although I don't need this now, I'm going to keep it aside for another project, okay, because I might need that. I'm going to put that on my tool bench as it seems to want to be there. For this, what I'm going to do now is just bring in a fine tip glue applicator. I can put my pokey tool away because I didn't need that. I thought to myself I'd never needed to use it and use a pokey tool to get this out before. I didn't. So just a little bit of glue over the hoop here, just running along. So I'm just layering up. There'll be 3 layers. There'll be 2 layers of cardstock, 1 of this wood grain paper. This is actually one from Helen Griffin from Simply Made Crafts. It's one that was used, I believe it was like a one when she had lots of bags. So she had like the leather effect paper in there and the blue woolen knitted effect as well. So that's from that collection. I apologise, I've forgotten the name of it. And then another piece that I've just die cut. I've just run the top of the die through just with some mirror card there and got myself my gold. So this is all the workings at the top. So you've got the little screw at the top of the hoops holding everything together. So I'm just going to bring that on top. So there's a little bit of paper piecing. If you've got a gold pen, that will work just as well. You can leave it wooden if you want to, but just pop that on there. Okay, now try to be good and keep my little, this is from the Distress Ink enamel pins. They have that on the back of them and I love them over my metal nib on my glue there. Right, so next I'm going to bring in, this was cut out from an embroidery hoop previously. And this was obviously just in a white cardstock. I've just snipped the top off there. I'm going to use that. I'm going to start using now those stamps. I want to show you how they work because for me the stamps are the centerpiece. They're the main thing. What I like to use with these stamps ideally are your Versa Magic or your Memento ink, but ideally Versa Magic. They're a chalky based ink. I've got lots of them here, so bringing in lots of colours for you to see, and I would suggest choose your colours before you get started, just because it saves you rummaging around and looking for colours to match. So I'm going to take the warmer tones out of this. I think I'm going to use this one, I'll use that, and then I've got this Spanish olive is my favourite for greens. Actually I might bring that orange back in. There we go. I have already got one of these finished, so don't worry about me sitting here stamping for hours. I'll show you the basic techniques and then we'll get going with a finished piece. So let me show you that basic, like I say, the basic technique first of all. I'm going to take a pale colour. This one's called Spring Pansy. Distress oxides will work just as well. They will work beautifully. Now this is quite pale, so I'm going to stamp this just here. Okay, just pop that on. So as you can see, you could happily use that on its own as a stamp. Okay, that one's the solid one. For each of the 2 stamp designs, you've got the solid one and then you've got the looser one, the one that's more stitch lines. Okay, so then with each I'll stamp the base and then I'll come in with the stitch lines, and what I like to do is just place this over my stamping. So just pop it over where you think it will fit. Sometimes you might need to rotate it a little bit, but as long as it's roughly there, I like to work my way round until it sits perfectly, but it depends if you've got the patience. They will fit quite well on their own otherwise anyway. And then what you want to do is take a paler colour, sorry, a darker colour. I'm telling you wrong now. Take the darker colour of each one. There we go. So I think that fits about there, roughly. So the darker colour for this would be this purple. Okay, so I'm now going to pick this up, having my block parallel to me, so I know it's at a right angle. I know how to position it back next time. Ink that up again with the Versa Magic, sorry, it's Versa Magic, and just pop that back over the top. Now what I'd usually do is I'd bring my head over and I would line that up properly, or I'd use a stamping platform, but obviously you don't want to see the top of my head. But there you go. So now we've got the look of the embroidery. We've got the paler colour underneath, and then the dark represents all the shadows that would be around any stitch lines there. But let's see how you can use these without doing the layering. It's really easy. So let's take just one that's the second layer. It's the one with the gaps in, I like to call it. I'm not very technical. One with the gaps in there. You'll know what I mean. The one that looks like threads. And we can stamp this. There we go. Look, already it starts to look like stamping. Now I usually work from my larger flowers down. Actually, I've just cleaned that. Let's do another one of those quickly. So start positioning the larger flowers where you want them within the embroidery hoop center, and then start working down to the smaller pieces. This is the largest, and then let's come to this one. Have a look. I really like this. Is probably my favorite of all of the stamps, the flower stamps here. I don't know why, I just really like using the looser layers, and you can overlap these florals as well. I'm hoping you can see the detail in there okay, and that you can see how it's looking like embroidery threads from the distance. Now this one is a bit like your knotted rose. I don't know if you've ever done embroidery, so it looks like a knot of, you sort of do lots of knots and it goes round. I'm not technical, I don't know the names of them, I'm sorry, but it does look lovely when it's stamped. It looks just like embroidery. Again, I'm just using the top layer for this one rather than using all of them. Hopefully you can see that, so you can see the highlights coming through, and these are the shadows. Let's do another one. So these come together so very quickly. In fact, when I've finished this demonstration, I'm going to grab down from behind another couple of these to show you, because I've done it I've done it exactly the same way on fabric. So let's do one more of these as well. So you can build these up. Because of the inks, you can layer these as well. So you can go colour over colour there, and it's really quite saturated. So now we've got our florals down. I think that's probably enough florals. We can now work on the leaves. Again, I am going to go with the looser leaves, the more open threads for these ones, rather than doing the layering, because it's quicker. If I've got the time, I will sit and I will do all of the layering, because I just think it looks brilliant. But if I'm going to have this like so, let's bring this leaf cluster here, and then another one at the top. I might just clean the base of the stamp there so I can have it peeking out from the flowers here. So this one like so. Can you see how that's starting to build up? And then my favourite of all the foliage stamps, and it's this little tiny leaf. I love it. See, I've got a wet wipe, just keep switching my stamps, giving them a wipe as I go. This one just looks brilliant. You don't even have to use this one with the base colour at all. I mean, you can, it's there, you've got it, but I just think it looks great on its own regardless. So as you can see, just start building that up and building that up. I've got one that I've already finished. I'd add more leaves around the edge there. I would add a sentiment. Now, sentiment I've added, let me bring this in because this is a nice dried finished one that I've done already. The sentiment I've added here is using those lowercase stitched letters. And can you see, do you remember I said each letter flicks up and then that leads into the next letter? So as you stamp these, I would suggest don't stamp them all together on a block. I would say do one letter individually, because then you can press it right up against the last letter and you can follow on, or you can actually then stamp in the middle and work your way outwards to get it perfectly central. But that's how those stitched letters work. I think they're just absolutely brilliant. Should we start creating our card? Now what I've done here, I'm so glad you can see the stitch detail. So it's Karen. What ink do you use on fabric? Rena. So what I personally like to use on fabric when I do it are these, because the colour is really vivid, really strong. I have tried this, I've heat set it, and then I've given it a cool hand wash on cotton, and it's been fine. Now, most fabric pieces you wouldn't be putting in a washing machine anyway. It may be, I don't know whether it would be like a craft apron or a canvas tote or something, but sometimes it might need a cool wash to get some grubby, grimy things off. So yeah, with these, heat set them with an iron, because I just heat set everything anyway to be sure. But otherwise, VersaFine works really well as well. So whether it's the VersaFine Claire or the VersaFine, these ones are what I call the older version, either of those will also work on fabric. You can get those in lots of different colours as well, and it, like I say, heat set them. But don't use, if you use something like Distress Inks, they're water based and they will just wash straight off. But I have tried cool wash with these and they've been fine. That was a long-winded answer for you. So I've then brought in an additional die, and that's my creative circle nesting dies. You can cut this by hand if you want to, but what you want is a circle that's ever so slightly larger than the inner circle from your embroidery hoop. Okay, so that will give you a nice base to start building your hoop onto. If you find it easier, just simply draw around your embroidery hoop die and cut that out, and then we've just got a nice, secure and stable base to layer these two onto, because you are slotting one into the other, they're not overlapping. So just coming in with some glue around the edge of the hoop first. They're not really my sort of colours, these that I've done on this embroidery hoop. I think when it's embroidery, any colour goes, you know, anything can look absolutely amazing, can't it? So I've started experimenting with different colours that I wouldn't usually use, and I've loved it. So oranges, for example, orange and purple, I've never usually put those together, but with the green, and it doesn't look Halloweeny, does it? That would usually be my go-to Halloween colours, but I don't think they look too Halloweeny. And you see that centre then just pops directly inside. Because we did 3 layers of cardstock for the hoop is ever so slightly raised up there. Now I have got from the inner hoops that came out of a lot of these, again I've done a couple of layers here, glued them together, but they are all inner hoops that have come out. I've got myself a nice strong base there, and then I've got a piece of cardstock, another inner hoop, as you can see. I've folded it almost in half and then a little bit at the end there. So what this is going to do is create me an easel base. So this is like the workings. So I'm going to pop this just on the top of the wood there. It folds back, it folds forwards. That's a little bit on the skew, but that's fine, it doesn't matter. It's all going to be on the reverse. I should have measured that properly, maybe used a scoreboard. I don't measure things, and this is what I get for it. Rachel says she loves the palette that I've chosen. Thank you, Rachel. Let's just have a look on Facebook. Yes, so Cheryl, can you paint the grey board with any medium? Yes, you absolutely can. So I've used distress paints and inks on them. I've used embossing powders on them. I don't know what else you might want to use on them. I'm just trying to make sure I put this straight onto that base there, and then we've got lovely easel card. I'll just stand that up, lift that up for you there, and we need something to stop this from falling forward. It does all fold flat, of course, because you've used the same size circles. So I am bringing in now, so here's my grey board. I have used some wood grain paper just over that and wrapped some real thread around it. So there's one. I'm going to bring in my Kalau glue actually, just because that will be a little bit stronger on the grey board. I've got my grey board stitch, what's it called, thread cards there as well. So again, put some threads around there, and I've made sure that my threads kind of match the colours that are in the hoop. And then I've also got some buttons. So the buttons I've got on foam pads, and I'm going to pop these over the top. So the buttons come from the Sewing Tools die set, and I'm just going to lift those up onto foam pads and pop those onto some of the embroidered flowers there. And these can go on a little bit of glue. Let's make sure that I'm not clogged up there. That'll probably help. I like to leave the some of the threads quite loose as well, so you can then position them later on if you want to. Put a little, just some glue across the back there. Doesn't need to be too much, just enough so that that holds that there. Let's just move, while these are wet, let's just move these around. There we go. So all you'll need to do is just leave these to dry before you let that stand, but I can just pop that down and let that dry. But there's my first card. It seems so strange being on my own because I've got no one else to say, yeah, that's all right, or wouldn't have done that. But yeah, I hope you like that. I hope you like the tools and things that I need. I'm just going to lift, actually. I'm just going to lift these up. That really does make that stand, doesn't it? So there's the first card. That has taken me a little while, actually. That's taken me, how far have I got? What time did we start? 2 o'clock. Wow, that's a long time. Shall I get straight into a second demonstration? Because that has taken an awful long time. Don't forget, while I'm just getting this all ready, we have got free grey board when you're spending over £20. That's all, just £20. We've also got, if you're in the US, free grey board if you're spending over $25. And then you've got 25% off of the old textures collections. All you need to do is use the code for that. That's T25. Pop that in at checkout and you'll get your 25% discount if you're putting any of the old collections in there. So this is that patchwork die. I adore this. I really, really love it. Thank you everybody for saying it looks nice, because I've got no one here to tell me it does. You're all so sweet. So I have cut for this card. I've already prepared a lot of it. It did take a little while. If you love paper piecing, if you love taking your time and building cards up, lots of layers, then this is going to be perfect for you. For this, it's the patchwork die, as you can see, cut from that, what I call that farmhouse, floral farmhouse sort of paper. Then also cut from the teal colour paper. And I've kept all the bits that have come out to the side. The backing, which is this, the white web as such, I've glued down onto my card of the teal version. And where that's sat, I've just started putting in some of the shapes. Now these shapes I am going to just brush around the edge here with some ink. So it doesn't matter which you use, very random, but all the hexagons are the same shape and size, and all the triangles, most of the triangles are the same shape and size, besides these corners here. So just make sure you save your corners, don't lose those, because they're quite specific, they're cut in half. I'm just adding a little bit of glue into each of the gaps just to pop these back in. So it took me maybe half an hour, I would say, because I'm inking them as well. I'm using my brown distress ink and just inking around the edge of these. So I think 30 minutes is about fair to sit and paper piece these all back in. I found it quicker to add glue to 2 or 3 areas and then add those bits of paper in and then go and add glue to another 2 or 3 rather than keep glue, ink. Let's just pop that last one back in there. So that's that all paper pieced in together, and you've got the texture in there as well. I love that look, but you can switch around the colors. Absolutely, you can use different papers, you can use different colors, you can use metallics if you want to. It doesn't have to be this sort of very fabric themed thing if you don't want it to be. We were talking about different ways of using the panel earlier, and I was showing you some examples, but another way, if you can see, so this is how that panel laid on there. But if you were to just move this, let's just move it up. Should we move it up or should we move it along? Let's just move it up to there. Can you see now we start getting more triangles coming in? We could flip this round, we could have that way. No, it shows better on the white, doesn't it? But as you start moving it around, you start filling in some of the triangles or rather some of the hexagons with more triangles. I'm not sure how well you can see that. So you get even more texture if you want to start layering these up in different ways. And that's how I created some of those other cards at the beginning with the different backgrounds. So definitely start having a play with this, because this is really good fun when you start. In fact, I'm just going to snip this in half for you. So just very carefully through the center line, just so I can hopefully show you. Let's move that. So we've got the white So the one with the pink and the blue and the yellow, I had them together and I just moved them ever so slightly, both downwards and to one side. Doesn't matter which side. Can you see? You start to get that three-dimensional, make your eyes go funny look. And then the next one I did was making sure that the triangles were inside of a gap, like so, and then I did the same with the third one, so these solid pieces were filled in with triangles, and that gave me a full panel all of little triangles. So you can see how it's really easy to layer those up. Wendy says she can see so many uses for the inside part of that die. Clever techniques there from Michelle Stern. Thank you so much. I never thought of it being like a puzzle. What a great idea to get your mind into that idea. Yeah, that would be really good, wouldn't it? Like the if you were maybe to cut a photo and then paper piece it all back together, that would be lovely. So one thing I want to do here as well, have I got the pieces? I won't do a third demonstration. I'll save that. I'll do a video for it and send it over to CraftStash for you. So you've got that on there as soon as possible, because I don't want to keep everybody who's on their lunch break and things. But I want to show you some of the other stamps as well. In fact, I've got them all done. Look at these. So they are the alphabet stamps. I've just used the LOVE from the uppercase stitched stamps there. They're just brilliant because you can use your bright, bold colours. Now, I focused on colours that were very similar to these here. So I've picked out the red, obviously from the red flowers, the blue, the teal and such like, things like that. So they're all in there, and even the pinks. So here we go. Let's just take my backing off, hopefully take my backing off. There we go, already got my foam tape on. I knew this hour would go really quickly. Great thing about this panel as well, it is a large panel. Obviously you can cut it down, you could just cut that. Look, if you look there, there's one big hexagon in the middle. You could just have a shape card like that maybe, but you can also have it horizontally as well. It's entirely up to you which you prefer. I really like tall cards, and because of the pattern on there, I can perfectly center that. So, oh, everybody, I have now got winners' names, so hold your horses because we're going to have some winners in just a moment. Now, these are the grey board here. So what I've done with these is I've just inked them with, I believe I inked them with the little cat's eyes again. I used the same chalk inks for the nice vivid colour, like the Versa Magic here for the red. So again, picking colours that I've used on the alphabets there. I'm just going to use a little bit, and let's use my Collal again, just because it's a nice thick glue that has a lot of, don't need to undo that, a thick glue that will hold things like chipboard really well. I'm not sure if we've got Collal in. I think we're sort of struggling to get it in at the moment. It's so popular, but it'll be back, I'm sure. There we go. So, and the heart I'm going to just tuck under there. I've put a little bit of thread through the grey board hearts as well. So there's another card for you. Shall I show you those embroidery hoops with those flowers very quickly? I just have to get them up. So this one is one of my favourites, actually put into a real embroidery hoop. That is using those flowers, the stamped embroidery flowers. As you can see, I've just used them all one layer. I think mostly one. Oh, maybe the knotted hearts I've used 2 layers. But I just used a pencil and very lightly sketched where I wanted my heart to be. And with this one, I actually went round with the leaves first, getting that edge as much as possible, and then filled in the centre. And I've obviously glued on some buttons, but you can stitch on some buttons. And I would keep that in an embroidery hoop, and I would just use that on a wall or something. You could spell a name if you wanted to. These alphabet stamps as well are going to look brilliant on fabric for personalising. And then I've done the same on white with these colours here. So that again, that would stay in that hoop and that would just hang on a wall, or you could take it out and then put it in a frame and it would look like embroidery, of course. So there's those two. So there's lots that I've been showing you today. Let's bring that card in and this card in. So they're my 2 cards. Should we show you those from the front? Here we go. So that's that card as an easel there, stood up. I just love the embroidery hoop. It's really bright because it's got lots of bright lights on it. But I'll take photos of these so you can see them properly. and there's that panel die as well. So that panel is quite a large panel die, but it does cut absolutely beautifully. Shall I announce some winners' names? I think that's about time, isn't it? So we have 3 names now. All 3 of you are going to win a selection of these products, right? So we have over £130 worth of product. We're going to split it between the 3 of you and just send you a little random selection of the collection. The winners are, and I recognise actually all of these names as regular watchers and commenters, so congratulations to all 3 of you from both YouTube and from Facebook. Ella, congratulations to you, Ella von Aleda? Aledia? I don't know. You're going to have, right, so everybody, if you don't have the name Smith, Jones, Green or something like that, you need to just send me a message with phonetically how you spell your name, please, because that would be really helpful, because I'm terrible with names. Ella, you know who you are. Thank you so much for commenting, and you are a winner. Please just message CraftStash with your postal address and we can get that out to you. Carol Lewis as well, congratulations. You have won a selection of the new Texture Stitch in Time collection, as have you, Vicky West, too. Congratulations to all 3 of you. I'm so glad I can share these products with people. So as I said, if you missed the offers and codes and such, we have got an offer of that grey board. Have I got the grey board on me? It's down there now. I've got the grey board is on offer. You're going to get that completely for free if you're spending over £20 on the Stitch in Time collection, or if you're in the US, if you're spending over $25, you'll get that for free. Once you get to checkout and you've got enough qualifying items in your basket, that will just pop up with, do you want to add this in? You can also get 25% off of older textured products as well. So this is the 5th collection. There's another 4 collections that have come out in the past. Go and browse those. You can simply go to the brand page on craftstash.co.uk, sorry, or craftstash.us. Go to the brand page and you'll see you've got textures there. Click on that and you'll see everything. If you're putting anything that's not Stitch in Time into your basket, you can get 25% off simply by using the code T25, T25. And I just need to remind you as well about those Cricut machines. You've got a massive up to £80, not 80%, £80 off of those. Go and check those out. Some amazing bargains for you. That's only going to last till the 4th of June, so you haven't got very long. That's like this time next week, I think. Somewhere. No, this is my wedding anniversary this time next week, so it'll be Friday next week. That offer ends on there on the 4th of June. So make your mind up about those machines really quickly. I understand it's a considered purchase, but do you know what? When you can get up to £80 off, stop saying percent, £80 off, then it's an absolute bargain. I'm going to stop talking, give my mouth a rest, and let you all go and fill up your baskets with the textured products. Thank you so much everybody for watching and commenting, and I will see you all again on Friday. I've got Sam Cowcott with her brand new launch as well, from Made to Surprise. Really exciting. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be at 12:30 as usual on a Friday over on all the CraftStash platforms. So I'll see you all again very soon.